Doing well. How are you?
Just fine.
Great.
Thanks for coming by today.
Well, thank you.
What we're doing here today is just trying to find out more about you so the citizens just sort of know who they're voting for.
Okay.
I mean, it's a tough decision, and everybody's really well qualified for the school board. So, have you lived in Collierville a long time?
We've lived here about 15 years. We moved here in '97 and purchased a home with the thought that we'd stay here just a few years and then move on. I'm originally from Texas and just never was able to leave here. It's a great town.
Well, that's great. Well, we're going to be talking in here.
All right.
So how did you get started with the school board idea? I mean, this is a big decision to run for school board.
Well, in the spring, I was currently in the middle of doing the Shelby County Citizens University, and it became a more public information that we were really going to have a school board. That, you know, the idea came from being just an idea to reality. And I thought, I have wanted to run for office, wanted to be a part and be able to serve, and this just was the perfect opportunity. God placed this one right smack in my lap. So.
Have you done things like this before, or do you have a particular interest in education? Or?
Well, I do have 2 children in the school, so my interest is their investment. And also, I've never run for office. I have worked on other campaigns prior to this while I was in college, because I do have a minor in political science. And I've also worked as a poll worker and an officer of elections. So I love the political process itself, and it's important to be involved.
So when people run for office, they think about the office and they sort of think about the kind of impact they can have.
Yes.
And everybody has a uniqueness that they sort of bring to the table that is beneficial. What would be your uniqueness, or how would you visualize yourself making a difference? Well, I've had 23 years as a flight attendant, so I've had an opportunity to meet lots of different people. On an average day, I run into about 400 to 500 passengers, work with a minimum of 2 other flight attendants and 8 other pilots. So I have an opportunity to see lots of different people, lots of different cultures, and I believe that I'm very good with people. So I have the opportunity to work well with others. Okay, well, let's dig a little deeper in that.
Okay.
On the school board, there's going to be differences of opinion, there's going to be some conflict, there's going to be stressful situations. I mean, they should be stressful. There's some big decisions to be made. And I assume that you've been in a lot of stressful situations. So in a stressful situation, how do you lead? How do you engage or make a difference in that kind of situation?
Well, I've had many instances where I have, shall we say, been blamed for things I can't control, such as weather, and lots of people in my face. But I also know that I can come up with great solutions as well. And I've had an opportunity on this campaign to speak with parents and teachers, administrators from the elementary, the middle school level, the high school level, in order to kind of find out what they're looking for so that I can make wise and good decisions. So.
This is a big deal to start a school board. You have any idea about how many hours a week you think it's going to take? Or?
Well, I do have the benefit of a job that's a full-time job with part-time hours, so that does help that I have that opportunity. I work an average of 12 to 15 days a month on my actual job. I'm able to maintain a freedom to my children, and I don't see having any problem with spending the time to do this. My children, as well on the campaign trail, I have been able to continue to fix them breakfast and dinner and have time with them. So I think that I will be able to manage that time very well.
Well, that's good. And what ages are your kids?
I have a 13-year-old who's in 7th grade, my daughter, and my son is 10, almost 11, and he's in 5th grade.
So you've had a long experience with schools the way they are now, here in Collierville, is that right?
Well, I grew up in 2 different school systems. In Collierville, Texas, we had an independent school system, and I also had an independent school system in Minnesota where I actually graduated. When I moved to the Collierville area, I was actually surprised that Collierville itself did not have its own school system. And I'm excited about the opportunity because we have so many options for partnerships here in this town. We have the Literacy Council. We have a library that we own by the city that can partner with the school system. And so I'm excited about that opportunity as we build our own school system.
So what, if there's anything that you change now that you know about in the school system, just the way the schools are now, whether it be how long recess is or better food, or is there anything that you look at and say, you know, I'd like to see changes with this? I know everything takes more study, but I'd like to see a change in something.
I think one of the things that has come up when speaking with the parents is a concern about the special needs. Shelby County has a system for the special needs program, and the Memphis City as well has one. And I know that that's a concern as to whether we'll be able to maintain what we have or grow from that. And I know that might be something we will have to consider changing the way we do that in order to make sure that all the students are educated in the way they need to be.
Hiring the school superintendent is a big deal. Yes. And it's going to come down to 3 or 4 candidates that are all well qualified. Is there anything right now that would cause you to sort of pick one out from the crowd that you'd say, you know, I'm looking for experience, or I'm looking for young energy, or I'm looking for innovation, or anything in particular that you'd be attracted to?
Well, we do need a superintendent who can accept the scope and size of our school system. We're not going to be a large school system. We'll have about 8,000 students. But I've had the opportunity, and I made it an effort to speak with the administrators from the levels of school so that I could ask them, what are characteristics in things that you're looking for in a school superintendent, so that I can make a wise decision based on what they're looking for in character as well. So the decision is not just my decision, as well as the school board's.
Some people have a vision for the future. So, you know what, that's where I want to go. That's where we need to go. Okay. Other people are more consensus. They see themselves as a connector between people. There's not a right or wrong. The board's going to need both types of board members, I think. Where would you fall in your mind?
To be truthful, I'm a little bit of both. I have a vision. I think it will be exciting to partner with our community, and we'll have a cooperation with the other municipalities and their school system and the unified school system. But also I see the connector of, we have a great blueprint from the Shelby County school systems to begin with, and we will build our foundation from that and grow. There will be things that will need to be original. You know, we can stay with the original to start with, and then we'll tweak it and make it fit what Collierville needs.
Shelby County is going to have 3, 4, 5 different town school systems.
Yes.
Do you have any vision for how Collierville's might be any different from Germantown's or Arlington's or anybody else's?
Well, we do have the economic base. We have the residential base, and the fact that we have brought in lots of companies into the area, into the city. So we do have the potential for growth and the potential for growth and income for our schools. So I see that as a true benefit to Collierville over some of the other municipalities.
On the school board, when issues come up, what is it that you think you'll bring to the school board if there's a controversy? Is it analytical detail analysis? Is it listening to people? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Is it listening to people? Is it everybody has a different role to play.
I believe I bring a calming sense. I work well with others, and I do have a tendency sometimes when I have a passion for something, I'll let people know my passion, but I also do have a calming sense with things. Our daughter recently was injured and had to have surgery, and I had the opportunity to sit in with her as she was going under anesthesia, and was able to come and talk to her, and then also I'm good at listening. As a flight attendant, we call it jump seat psychology. We sit and listen to everybody's family problems and everything right on that jump seat, so it's usually a crew member we've listened to as well.
I would assume that you've developed a lot of listening talents.
I do.
Well, that's great. So what happens if you're in the grocery store and somebody comes up and says, little Sally hates her 5th grade teacher, and I voted for you, and by golly, I want you to do something about that. What would you do in that situation?
It depends on what the little Sally's looking for in her teacher, I think. I know as a school board member, my responsibility is to advocate for the student. If there is an issue such as modifications to their IEP that's not being fulfilled, I can step in and help with that. As far as changing their teachers, as far as choosing their teachers, that's not my role at this point. I do and can listen to that. I listen to lots of things about how misluggage sometimes doesn't happen where it's supposed to, and unfortunately I don't have control over that, but I can at least listen to that.
4 years from now, when the board members look back over their experience of being the initial school board, how do you think how would you define sort of success or failure?
Well, that was further than I was looking. My initial success, I think, was looking at that first graduating class as to be a part of the board and watching the first Collierville school system graduation. I think that is, to me, is success, because it's our own system. We built it. It's our communities, and that's I think this far-reaching in respect to the future that I've looked at. 4 years down the road, there's lots of things that will change, lots of things that will be tweaked and be different from what they are today.
Well, got any idea about some of the other changes that might happen in the next 4 years for people with schools in Collierville?
So my daughter said, please no school uniforms. So I know that several of the schools, Sycamore has a uniform policy or a type of specific clothing policy. So that will be something that will have to be looked at. We can take what the Shelby County school system does and consider whether we're going to do an all-around uniform or allow the separate schools to do their own thing. So that's something that will have to be looked at and one of the changes.
Any other worries or concerns that you have about public education here in Collierville that you'd like to impact?
Well, Shelby County has started us with a fabulous blueprint to begin with. My children have had success in the schools. Our daughter has been diagnosed with ADD, and when we started her in 1st grade at Collierville Elementary, I went to the principal and said, here's where I have my child. Please place her in what would be best. And I have never regretted that. She has succeeded so tremendously in the public school system, and I'm very excited about that. And our son as well is very, very involved and is well loved by his teachers and his friends as well.
Well, that's great. Well, Pam, we sure appreciate you coming by and being willing to be a public servant.
Thank you.
It's going to take a lot of work.
It is.
Well,
I'm up to the task.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Thank you.